Welcome back, everybody. Hope you got your popcorn. Hope you took a little bit of a breather because we are in for a doozy game number 3 between DK Crew and Supernova. A spot in the matchup against Evil Genius's Prodigies is on the line, and Rude, more importantly, your season is on the line here. One of these teams will be playing their last game of 2022.
Yep, if you lose here, locking top 10, near impossible. I believe, in fact, impossible. It is not something that either team wants to find themselves in the eventuality of. We have also just seen on the Academy stream, maybe 30-40 seconds ago, CLG Faith confirming a 2-0 victory over the AoE randoms, so their season now again becomes a lot more difficult, and CLG Faith get to live to fight another series. But we have obviously got our own matchup here, DK Crew versus Supernova. Game number 3 now we're going into. Two very one-sided games thus far, one either way. Based off of, I think that game number 1, we were saying Supernova drafted themselves into a hole. So game number 2, they drafted themselves into a canyon of opportunity.
Yeah, and I don't think DK's Crew's draft was bad in their own right. They stuck with a lot of the tools that got them early advantages in game number 1. I think the crucial thing actually was Shorter Race getting that Vi band against him. The Talia, the Rammus wasn't super impactful or as impactful as a Vi can be, especially in the early game in terms of snowballing some of the lanes. And because of that, combined with a lot of the more extra scaling that Supernova were able to bring to the table this time around, became a lot harder for them to navigate that game.
Yeah, and I certainly expect with the draft about to now begin for game number 3, in fact, that we do see some adaptations by DK Crew. Supernova themselves may not need to make too many for themselves, but I do expect to see DK Crew force a couple on them.
I think that the adjustments for DK will probably come through. Again, the Yuumi, we were really confused because the whole talk about game number 1 was Zera Yuumi just being absolutely busted, and both those champions made it through the entire first phase of both picks and bans. And so maybe DK want to they could opt back to that strategy that worked really well for them the first time around instead of really prioritizing the top side of the map, which didn't end up winning for them either way.
Ban's looking fairly similar though, and I do like the points that you draw too about the top side. Obviously, DK Crew not able to fully execute on their win conditions through that area, but the Belveth does get banned away. There we go. It was a pick that was so crucial, very instrumental, really, to the win for Supernova. But they're just going to default back to this Talia first pick. Savage has been looking very, very strong on it, really every given opportunity. So no surprises here.
Yeah, it seems to be what they opt for consistently on that B1, but Ariandel going to return to the pick that got them that win last time around. It is that Azir matchup to face off against what is potentially that Talia in the mid lane, and this is Actor finally throwing down the gauntlet. Of course, didn't do so well on the Kindred against Maryville, but this is his tried and true.
Yeah, this is the ban that was dropped by DK Crew to put the Belveth on the ban table. Kindred locked in for Actor. A champ that he's very proficient on, a champ that we tend to see him play pretty much any given chance he gets the opportunity to. And I'm no surprise, no shock to see it locked in here once again for him, a very touted player with this champ.
The other side, Ezreal Karma for Evan Earl and Clyde gives him a very safe bot lane to kind of play around. And another Gnar lock-in for Meslo. I don't know if the Gnar blind pick is necessarily the best thing. Of course, you do get to ban out a lot of counters here in the second phase, but I mean, Gnar doesn't have, I think has a 0% win rate, at least in this series, so maybe not the best spot for Meslo to pick it up unless something very drastic changes.
Yeah, you're quite right. It's not something that is too easy on at least my opinions. Not too much of a fan of the blind pick now. It does have its counters if your champion pulls it deep enough. Worth noting that the two bot laners that Supernova played last game were Senna and Seraphine. They are both banned away here in the second phase, so big adaptation by DK Crew coming into this next phase. Tomato, though, locks in the Ashe. This is a pick that we actually see from him fairly frequently through this circuit qualifier, and actually a very good hyper carry as well to try and match up with the Kindred and Azir as well.
Yeah, and for DK Crew, the bans that they go through, trying to force Supernova onto some new things, but a couple of old things that they select here. Shorter Ace, Lee Sin, they go hand in hand as pretty, synonymous terms, and we finally get to see him pilot this monk here in the jungle.
Exciting. Early game aggression given over to Shorter Ace. Last time around he was on the Rammus playing a bit of a back foot style of carry where he was trying to match what Actor was doing this time round. He has the Lee Sin. He has to be the aggressive one. He has to be the one making plays, stepping to Supernova and really putting his foot to the faces potentially of the enemies coming down.
And I like this adaptation. Again, putting Shorter Race on a playmaker worked so well for them in game number 1. Lee Sin hasn't been as prioritized in the meta as of late, especially with the durability patch. But everyone knows that Shorter Race is able to pilot this champion no matter what state it is in. And making early plays against something like this Kindred will be very important for DK Crew, who again, fighting for their tournament lives. The draft that they set up has a whole lot more team fighting and a lot of 5v5s on both sides. And we might see some pretty crazy ones at that in terms of the big brawls that are happening later on in this game.
Yeah, last time round we saw 5v5. Supernova took them fairly convincingly because they had a massive lead going into the situations that they were looking at these fights for. But that was obviously through their early game mechanics and through their ability to generate those early leads. Let's see if they can double down on that once again. Have Kindred as this playmaking tool that you can, find some really intricate pathings through the jungle, hopping over sneaky walls and potentially finding some invades as well. We saw it from Supernova in game number 1. It didn't come too much to return, didn't yield too much fruit. And of course the DK Crew will be looking to harness some of that game 1 action.
Fruit.
Yeah, you like that little slip?
I like a little fruit reference every once in a while. You know me, you see the name down there. So yeah, I do think that both these teams kind of got a lot what they wanted. I was kind of mentioning this earlier before we had to pivot to talk about the Lee Sin, that Supernova this time around are piloting 4 new champions. The only mainstay from their only victory of the group stage, mind that, is Ariandel's Azir. Of course, Actor on the Kindred makes a lot of sense. Tomato on the Ashe is a pick with a lot of comfort. Pluto's Nautilus, I think, was the most played champion that he had in the Midwest Esports Conference earlier this year. But these are picks that Supernova has not proven to be victorious on, at least here on the competitive stage. And with DK Crew banning out the Bel'Veth, Senna, and Seraphine, they're forcing a new hand coming out from the Hearts of Amateur.
We'll have to see whether or not they can keep on beating in this tournament. The final real match for them. If they lose, they go home and are out for the second time without making it to PG. If they win, they keep themselves in with a chance at locking top 10, potentially sending themselves through to Summer Proving Grounds itself, where they're going to be battling up against academy teams as well. If they make it to top 10 in that gulag spot, the bottom 4 between 6th and 10th. Obviously a fairly interesting matchup last time round, a complete sweep for the academy teams, and that was largely what we saw across all of the tournament as well. So what I'm hoping for is for just Amateur to have a bit of a better standing against the academy teams.
And a team that might remember when these amateur teams were able to stand up against Academy is Supernova. We were mentioning earlier in the last series as Maryville being the only team to one of the only teams to have qualified for the Scouting Grounds playoffs or Proving Grounds in both 2020, 21, and 22. The other 2 teams are 100 Thieves Next, who have already locked their spot, and Supernova if they get this position. This is kind of just showing how much of a mainstay Supernova has been in amateur, even from before the installation of the Proving Ground circuit. So seeing them miss out again would be really sad. But of course, it's DK Crew, it's the Meme Lords, it's the Banana Slammers. We're on to the Rift. One of these teams ending up on top. I'm really excited to see who it is.
And the interesting thing is as well that both of these 2 teams have got such similar points in their own right that if DK Crew win here, I think they end up tying with Over on points. Which is it's so scary, so crazy as well, because DK Crew bottomed out of their group last time round because they got Group of Death in Summer, and then in Summer number 1, and then of course in this second qualifier, both the teams going 3-2 in the OQs, because OQ points do count as well, it's worth remembering. Chance here for DK Crew, if they do win this series, they go into top 12. Likelihood is that up against an EGP team that will be the favourites going in, they won't go too much further. But if DK Crew win this, I think they only tie with Supernova. Of course, there is the weighting, which is most recent tournament points actually matter more. So getting this win here and tying is significantly better than if you get the win in summer number 1.
Yeah, either way, the winner of this series will be ahead of the other in standings. Even if DK Crew kind of ties Supernova in terms of total points, it is, yeah, that latest tournament result that matters just a little bit more. And so, with that said, again, so much stakes on the line. Again, we're not entirely sure about the implications for the team that wins this matchup, if they're 100% locked or if some other pieces have to kind of fall in the right directions for them to be locked. But at least keeps your season alive, which is the least that you could possibly want out of this situation.
Yeah, the worst case scenario from winning is that you get to go to the top 12 game and play another game that can send you through once again. So it's not like it's not a bad thing by any means. Both of these teams are going to be looking to cement themselves with a lead. To talk a little bit about what we are seeing, of course, this bot lane actually for Supernova, something that I'm quite happy with. I think that they've got a fair amount of pressure early on at the very least. The nature of Karma versus Nautilus is as long as the Karma doesn't poke you out too much, that you tend to be in a pretty good spot. And Pluto, full mana, still has to go for a hook. The way you want to be playing this one as the Nautilus is you need to go for an all-in. You need to be going for that full-on engage because the exit damage from an Ezreal Karma, the poke damage that you're going to take just throughout the lane is simply too strong. If Pluto can't find an engage soon, this lane is going to start to get away from them.
That's the one thing, though, about this bot lane. The Ashe Nautilus, if you land one set of hooks, one little bit of crowd control, they just compound on top of each other time and time again, especially once those ultimates become unlocked. But for now, it will just be Tomato getting some additional priority with the volley as Pluto finally lands a hook, but no all-in potential just yet.
Okay, they were trying to bait the Arcane Shift right there for Actor's gank. He's going to come down and not really get anything from this.
Yeah, the wave not in a good spot. Unable to push for the dive under the tower just yet. You see Shorter is pinging onto his bot side camps looking for a sort of response. Actor and Clyde will interact a little bit here into this bush, but Clyde is going to force the flash out of the Kindred early. Pluto to match here with a depth charge and his first blood into the hands of Supernova. What can the response be from DK Crew? Shorter Ace with the resonating strike will lock down his opposing jungler as it is 1-for-1 in the trade.
Wow, okay. Junglers both getting kills. It is Actor that falls, though. And Shorter Ace is going to be able to collect his Krug camp as well here. Going to be a couple of camps up over Actor, albeit slightly behind on the initial timing at the very least. Actor now has a small window where he can make a play or in some lanes with the slight item lead that he's going to have from that first blood. Instead, going to look to go for a top crab. Secure that second, potentially, mark of the game. I'm not quite sure. Maybe if it's just the first, depending on who this marks on.
I don't know if he got Clyde. There's always like a weird timer thing that happens here, but nice job by Actor to know that Clyde probably will have to face check this and gets a nice kill, although it is a response by Shorter Ace on the backside.
Yeah, the flash out was a little bit weird to me because he just queues back in anyway. I think he dodges maybe one Mystic shot, which at the end of the day ultimately doesn't save him nor kill him. If you can dodge away from the Sonic Wave, potentially Seismic Shove, there's outplay potential there for Actor. But like you say, gets first blood, gets the kill. It's certainly not a bad thing by any measure.
So we're pretty dead even at this point. Supernova with a slight gold advantage, just given the farm at that lead that has generated here, specifically in the mid lane for Ariandel. Getting a nice bit of priority, nice little back for himself as well. But all things considered, still anybody's game at this point in time. Bot lane still remains the focus here for both these teams as Shorter Ace is on the invade.
Interestingly as well, Actor normally the one who goes forward like that to try and find those plays.
I think he got the blue.
He did.
Yeah. And now looking for Actor as
that
well.
damage?
Oh my, so much damage here by the Lee Sin. Still that early game menace we know and love, and Clyde will land the final blow in onto Actor.
Too.
Pluto running for the hills, and Shorter Ace is going to start to take over. He has 3 kills participated in, and there are 3 kills for DK Crew.
Iron Spike Whip is a very powerful spike for the Lee Sin. It would appear able to take 2 kills inside the enemy jungle. Quite happily to go invading. Quite happy to take away the blue buff and take away the life of Actor and Pluto alike. Really good stuff by the DK Crew jungler. Ariandel hits level 6. Doesn't quite have the fingers to level and scoop in time. Savage with no flash would have been a sitting duck.
Not too bad, all things considered. Ariandel still generating a pretty big lead for himself. Has the wave in a great spot. Can either try to shove this out or hold the freeze. Instead going to do the latter. But it is first Dragon and a bunch of kills into the hands of Shorter Ace. So again, on this Lee Sin is just doing so much work.
Yeah, I think if you ask anybody and if you've seen Short Race play for a long time, you know that this Lee Sin is one of the franchise picks effectively for this player. Certainly something that he is very much comfortable with and very familiar with the roles of a Lee Sin in the late game.
Looking for a bit of a route, but another fight has opened up. Nice swoop in by Ariandel, and Shorter Race will get shut down. Now in the bot side, Pluto will get locked down with the tether, and Clyde will pick up the kill, but Hybrids and Savage are looking to respond on the backside. Meslo goes down. Actor trying to jump forward to respond with a kill onto the Talia. Will end up securing it. So overall, it is 2 kills for 2 for both of these teams, and we're in for a bit of a doozy again, Rudu. These teams are out for blood.
This is what I was expecting from the Game 3. Games 1 and 2 were both fairly one-sided. Game 3 is going to be absolutely back and forth. Neither side deciding that they want to win, deciding that that they can, easily take a lead and run with it this time round. We are going to be seeing, I can already tell, win for an absolutely crazy game.
Oh, look at the replay here. Nice job by Ariandel. Triple knockup was good, but unfortunately, Actor just does a lot of damage here.
Double knockup from Hybrids. You do think that this is going to be enough, but he unfortunately tunnels a little bit on trying to kill Ariandel, unable to do so. An Actor just commits onto the Talia, who ultimately just doesn't have the mobility to deal with a Kindred at this point. He's also running the Bounty Hunter rune, so he's getting even more kills for each unique, or even more gold for each unique kill. So that is a fairly scary prospect for the DK crew to try and deal with. And there you go. 3 bounty stacks already, I think. That's an extra, probably 300 gold that he's got from it.
Try to build that up a little bit more as we keep going on. That's kind of what you want to do, snowballing here for this side. The junglers are leading the charge both ways. Of course, it's Kindred, Actor. It is Lee Sin for Shorter Race. And, I mean, this kind of just is telling the story itself. Both of these junglers on their signature picks and doing absolute wonders here in the early game.
Of course, what we talked about was how well can they accelerate this. And not just that, but whose job it is to make the plays from here. Getting early game leads on Lee Sin is a real responsibility because it means you have to leverage your gold lead on a champion, which doesn't scale as well into the late game as you may have hoped that somebody getting so many kills does. The likes of a Kindred, for example, a champion that scales very well into the late game. If you're able to get some marks down, able to get that bonus range as well, you tend to be in a pretty good spot.
Looking for another play here. The flash kick coming in from Shorter Race, but it might be a little bit too late. Here comes the stun. Savage will be able to lock him down. Clyde coming in to swoop the kill. Thought Shorter Race could have gotten killed by the turret there, but it will just be the Lee Sin prevailing once more.
Okay, nicely played in that mid lane kick flash. Pretty unavoidable combo, unfortunately, after that initial Sonic Wave has hit. And knows just enough how much damage. Meslo.
He really wants this play. He's going to die for it here. The Brittle Proc's going to come through. Searing Charge will get dodged away from Meslo. Trying to kite, trying to escape. Has the leap.
Oh, no.
Meslo lives.
Hybrids, hybrids, hybrids. You can't just dash onto the other side. You need to know your damage better than that.
And now the play on the opposite side of the map is available. Supernova trying to lock down Evan RL, but the teleporting from Savage means that the rest of the Heart of Amateur has to run away. Actor flashes in defense, and it looks like the teleport was enough to stave off the dive.
Look at the CS difference in the mid lane as well. Savage down 25 CS, nearly 50% of a lead for Ariandel right now in the mid lane. And this is a replay of what happened on that mid matchup. Of course, Shorter Race kick, flash. Means that you can't really get away from anything, and then Savage, it doesn't look like he's doing too much damage, but he's just holding his combo. Seismic shove into the Unraveled Earth is enough. Clyde comes in, uses his shield as well just to make sure that he's going to steal that kill.
We've seen a lot of supports KSing people today.
Look at the kill distribution for DK crew. I just want to point that out.
Hey, you know the rap. It's all players beware when Clyde's on the rift. All players are bewaring right now.
They are bewaring. That's true. English with Grapes and Rude. How can you say your words
DK.
more wrong?
I love how we're like doing this, and our job is to speak good, but it's not happening.
Nice.
Right?
Another one. A bonus.
Ariandel trying to play good. Doesn't have that Sonic Wave connect. Arrow barely going wide. DK crew forced out of the pit for a little bit, but a lot of crucial cooldowns burned. Actor and Tomato will start this Drake up, trying to even up the count at 1. Meslo arriving from the top side before Hybrids, which means he gets the Gnar into the wall and shuts Clyde down. Ariandel picking up the first kill of the fight. Smite goes in favor of Actor as well. And here comes the Lamb's Respite. Hybrids does a huge knockup, but with everyone revived, doesn't matter. A big shuffle coming out from Ariandel and Supernova are almost winning the fight. But there comes DK Crew. Slam your bananas because they just got an ace.
Wow, a great fight for DK Crew. It looked so bad to start off with. Meslo starts off the fight with a great shove. They take down Clyde, but that's not the target that they were looking for. 4 members of DK Crew survive. A crucial double knockup from Hybrid's timing with the Lamb's Respite. A double shove as well does all the work that it needs to. Engage from Pluto. Yes, they take down the Karma. The 3-kill Karma is dead, everybody, but that is still only the support. The Drake goes over. Triple knockup outside of the Lamb's Respite. They barely limp their way in. Tomato actually flashes out. And then double shove here from Savage. Keep your eyes on this one. It just immediately takes down Tomato. Shunts 2 more back into a stun. Sets up shorter ace for a Q on the further back member. And that was what we were looking for. We said these teams were going to 5v5. We've seen a 5v5, and now DK Crew have got an advantage.
That was the explosive fight. Right there, and it went all of DK Crew's way. Not the damage from Supernova just wasn't enough on that set of engages. They will pop the Rift Herald to get a little bit more gold into their pockets. But you can see that huge jump right now. It looked like Supernova was starting to run away with it a little bit, but DK Crew punched right back.
They were as far ahead as they've ever been, and then they're just as far behind as they could possibly get as well. That was a real swing. You know, the power of an early game ace, I suppose, for you folks. Getting that gold certainly in the right places. Is a double kill went over to Savage, a couple kills more over to Shorter Ace. Who were working with those plated steel caps and the Gore Drinker on the Lee Sin. Still going to be a little bit of time when he has a decent enough time battling out against Actor in a 1v1. Not that I expect these teams to particularly find too many of those, because we have seen them group up quite significantly.
I hope we see more 5v5s. I mean, are you kidding? That was great. I mean,
that was insane.
Huge AoE ultis. Pluto, I think, was level 5 in that fight, so that's just another set of crowd control that can be eventually unlocked as soon as the depth charge will come through in another fight. So everyone from DK Crew is going to be bouncing around. The question is, does Supernova have enough damage to finish them off after they land?
And we'll have to see. I think the issue with this composition that Supernova drafted is maybe that it could be a little too late game centric there. Early game damage not necessarily through the roof as far as that goes. You know, we wait for Azir to get items. Ashe as well. The Kindred sat on a Kraken Slayer is doing okay. But taking these early game fights not necessarily to Supernova's credit. The later the game goes, I do favour them a lot more. Lee Sin falls off of a proverbial cliff. Really quite difficult to get the effectiveness. You do become a kick bot at a certain point.
Savage gets stunned. Here comes the follow-up, and high-key Savage is high-key dead. That's a kill going in favor of Tomato. The depth charge just to disengage, and Supernova get on the board once more.
And they get a top turret as well. Really good stuff by Meslo in this 1v1 specifically, has been bullying around hybrids. You can see that Supernova in these short order skirmishes where there are limited people in limited places are the ones coming out on top. DK Crew have been looking for these more scaled 5 versus 5s where they have everybody in the position to take these fights. They're not able to do it this time round, and they end up getting punished in 2 places at once.
If you're just joining us here from the Academy stream, first of all, where were you? Second of all, you missed a lot here. DK Crew and Supernova fight for proving ground spots on the line. DK Crew just coming off of a really massive team fight win around the Dragon. Supernova, though, hanging around. They got the scaling.
Momentum slightly in favour of Supernova, that's for sure. The question now becomes, what can they do with it? Would have maybe liked to see Actor actually take a reset there with his team. You can see that there's like maybe a 20-30 second window where they're not quite able to fully exploit the lead that they've got, and actually completely misread it because Tomato and Pluto also haven't based. I think this is maybe a little bit of an oversight by Supernova. You know, they have got these staggered recalls now where they've not been able to fully exploit what they could do with the timing that they've got out on the map as a full force. You can see that all of this, DK Crew are able to go in because of these slightly delayed resets. They can clear out this vision, set themselves up a little bit for this Drake, which is spawning. So 30 seconds on that one, and DK Crew in large control of this. But taking a bit of a note out of the Maryville book. Could just be transitioning their way completely toward the top side. Remember, there's a Herald on Actor. So if they take all of these top camps pushing this top wave, Herald is going to do a large amount of damage to these turrets still, regardless of the fact that plates have gone down.
Yeah, it's going to take a bit of time as the wave was pretty stacked up 4
I don't
inside
need a
of DK
wave.
Crew. Yeah, but Actor just needs the Herald to kind of do his duty. Supernova gonna seed away this third dragon, allow for DK to pick up the first ocean of the game. Some extra sustain, some extra survivability now available when those team fights come to fruition.
Charge actually hits as well
Nice.
on this tier 3 turret, so any lack of respect, any complacency by the DK crew could very well see them in a similar vein to the EGP game from game number 1. Of course, if you missed the first series, joining us from the Academy stream. That game, game number 1 for EGP versus Maryville.
Explain it. You're gonna have to just watch the. I feel like you just
Yeah, you simply just have to watch the VOD. There's no way of saying quite what happened. A 2-0 doesn't do the game's justice. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we find ourselves here in a 1-on-1, which I think does the series justice, and I think that this game being only a 1500 gold game with one team with more kills and less gold, that is about what we expect and about accurate, really, for this team, at this stage in the game.
I just realized we're kind of seesawing back and forth with the gold. Supernova now have the advantage after taking a whole ton of turrets by breaking open with that trade for the dragon. You see, go up towards DK, down towards Supernova. Shout out to Hawk, who calls this the super bounce on the trampoline, where you just like kind of jump up and down over and over again, have the friend boost you a little bit. But
Okay,
it's kind of all over. It's kind of we're all over the place right now, and I'm sure we're about to bounce around some more.
Yeah, I mean, this is that sort of point in the game, and sort of the point in any League of Legends cast that I tend to be a part of, where I'm like, okay, Supernova have got control now. Surely they're going to be able to, find some sort of semblance of success, and then things like this tend to happen.
Yeah.
That catch me off guard a little bit. Arendelle knows.
He dodges away, but there's the flash coming in from Shorter Ace. Ariandel has the shuffle, has the divide, but Shorter Ace will close the gap just like that, getting a kill onto the board. And now Clyde and Savage are raining in the artillery onto Pluto, forcing a summoner spell out of himself.
They're winning everywhere.
And now on the other side of the map, Meslo caught in a 1v2. Savage looking to continue to push forward. Actor has to join as soon as possible. The arrow lands nicely onto the Talia, and Supernova trying to turn the fight back into their favor. Tomato slowing everybody down with the arrows. Actor dashing forward, picking up 1, picking up 2. To trade on multiple fronts. Supernova win top, and it looks like DK Crew might not even win bot as Meslo comes in for the teleport. Shorter Race has a Conqueror proc, but now he has no other damage, has to run back. Finally gets the kill with the Resonating Strike, and Pluto doesn't win this 1v1, has to wait for the rest of his team to try and join Tomato with the flash volley. 1 more auto, 2 more autos, 3 more autos will be it. As that's another kill going into Supernova.
Are they done yet? DK Crew trying to battle around this bot side as well. Hybrids and MNRL not done in the bot side. I can't tell you how Meslo TP'd up to the top lane to make that play. Actor is in the wrong side of this rift.
He cannot play this. He wins this. You can root it up. Never mind. MNRL's here. Pops the Lamb's Respite. Actor can maybe look for 1 kill, but he gets knocked up. Beautifully timed there by Hybrids to lock down Supernova's jungler and prevent the snowball from rolling forward.
If you're ever playing against a Kindred and you have CC, take a note out of Hybrids' book right there. Time it for when the Lamb's Respite is about to give the heal, and then when the timer win which you could fall, because you're no longer immune, invulnerable, however you want to phrase it, the enemy is CC'd. And that's when you can start to take them down as well, of course. So really good timing from Hybrids. Puts himself on the board actually on his first kill of the game after performing very admirably with a 0-0-6 supportive scoreline. But overall, a lot of once again, plays that happened across the map, ultimately to no avail.
I thought
just a bit of gold.
I thought DK were going to win.
Teams more gold, right?
I mean, yeah. Your little call out there when we were calling that sort of set of engages, we're like, wow, they're going to win both fronts. Turns out they won on neither front. We'll take a look right here. Ariandel with a nice dodge away. Shorter Race, again, with the response, but that crucial dodge of damage might have been enough time to be bought by Supernova.
I think that the thing is that it's actually an overchase by DK Crew. They can accept that they get 1 and just take this turret here, or at the very least like fend off a little bit of time. They don't see Tomato and they don't see Actor. Unfortunately, that leads to their demise. Pluto goes straight back in, double CC up with the hook and the ultimate combo. And then, like I say, they've gone just a little too far. They'd have accepted their win of just 1 kill. Instead, they tried to extend the play a little too much. And Meslo as well managed to TP up to that top side after we saw him get engaged on down in that bot lane. But Short Race does make the best of this situation.
That's what he does. Gets the kills Nice response by Tomato as well. Getting him fed is also a good thing. I saw down in the minimap, Mezzo flashed away after Orin used all of his abilities and was able to teleport into that fight. So that's what happened. Didn't have that summoner spell. Won't have it for this next fight. Ocean Soul Point on the horizon for DK if they're able to get the upper hand in a sort of engage. But Mezzo has the Mega Gnar. He's looking for a play. No flash, but here comes the engage by Pluto. Depth charge lands onto 3, but already Supernova is chunked out low. Mezzo's going to jump forward, wait out, stopwatch and land a huge Gnar into the wall, stunning up forward the wall up as well. But DK fight back admirably. They drop 2, and they're going to look for more. Sonic Wave landing onto Tomato, and somehow Supernova lose that exchange, and DK Crew will get the Ocean Soul Point.
May not look like it, but I want to credit Hybrids for how he played that team fight. Recognized that he could do enough sitting in his team's backline and fending off intruders. Knocked up Meslo when he came in and disrupted the backline with the Call the Forge God so that they couldn't dish out enough damage. Really well executed tank play by Hybrids. It's something that we don't often get to credit too much. But you remember, Grapes, that dragon that they were so willing to give Supernova in exchange for a couple of turrets or for a little bit of gold on that top side, it's now biting them a little bit here. And I want everybody to just keep their eyes on Hybrids as well to start off with this. Short Race kicks Meslo out, but he still sort of sent him into the right spot. Hybrids, on the backside of this, knocks up 2 people as they're about to swoop in. Knocks up Meslo as he's trying to do so much CC work. Truly got to give credit over. You know, like we say, it's not too simple to play on super effectively there and not go down in a team fight, but I think Hybrids did a very good job.
You know, sometimes, Brood, the best front line is a good back line, and that's what Hybrids delivered for us there. Stayed behind, made sure to ward off any dive potential, because believe me, Supernova has a lot of that, as you just saw.
They were ready.
And Hybrids with a huge game, a huge series so far for his team. Has never really fallen behind very much, has played the tanks admirably in both of their wins. The Gnar game had a couple of good engages as well. For a player that, again, just very recently won Collegiate, things are looking really good for him as this new top laner for DK Crew.
Thanks to our ulti there. That did not do a lot of damage.
I saw the ult go out, and I was like, I can keep talking.
Yeah, and granted, at this point, we're not expecting the Gnar to deal consistent damage in the Mega Gnar form. Maybe if you've got the Mini Gnar and you've racked up that Black Cleaver a couple of times, you can potentially start to shred through. But we're waiting for the Hyper Procs really more so than anything else. The damage that comes from the 3 burst strike more so is certainly something that is going to be dealing a lot more damage than the Mega Gnar form. And he already has his ult back up again, by the way, so it really doesn't matter that he used it there.
When you're playing Gnar, once you get like past level 11, it kind of happens like that.
Ah!
I don't know how necessary that was from Savage.
I mean, he's gonna have his ult up again next time he becomes Mega, so it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, literally like have like a 60-second cooldown that again already gets kind of timed out already. But Meslo continuing the aggression, and now maybe this is the play that Savage was looking for, going for the re-engage onto Meslo. But watch Supernova, they have started up the Baron Nasher. Shorter races around the pit, has the smite, has the flash, and because of that and the teleport coming in, looks like Supernova are going to try to back away.
Meslo doesn't follow with TP, and somebody needs to answer this bot lane for Supernova, or against Supernova as well. But maybe they need to answer mid lane. DK Crew have gone for 1 turret. They like not to go for a second, trying to instead ward off Meslo for going anything further than this. And he's just going to take a fast recall, not traveling too far away from the turret. I think they could have potentially gone for a little bit more there. Maybe got a little bit more explosive in the mid lane, but it could have left them open to tempo play off the back of it, where they have to reset and potential Baron comes through after. Big play by Supernova. Granted, they lose the they don't get the Baron and they lose their mid tier 1, but they get both teleports out, and that is a very important set of cooldowns that DK Crew no longer have available. It means that Meslo can side lane, and there's nobody that can safely match, because they will always be the side lane pressure and the lack of teleports across the map.
Aggressive play coming out from Actor. The arrow just goes wide, but Shorter Race still has to safeguard away. I was just about to say, Rude, off a play like that, with these teams being as aggressive as they are, I think the state of the game 3 and the implications that this matchup actually ends up having play a bit of a role there.
Yeah, they're just playing a little bit cautiously, which I'm more than open to, given how well we've seen these two teams play previously. Something I'd like to see from DK Crew is actually send Savage down to that bot side. I think that Hybrids is much better focused up against this team. Savage can use the Weaver's Wall to get into the range of a fight a lot easier as well. Call the Forge God is going to be such a powerful tool if Supernova end up trying to start that Baron. And you can see there's always this sort of jockeying for position that Hybrids has to do. He has to confiscate, I suppose, a little bit of the time he has in that bot side.
And Mezlo
He gives
continues to
Mezlo
split.
free reign. Yeah.
Back to the very quick point before we go into the intensity of this game. Hybrids on DK Crew in the open qualifier game, round number 4 against CLG FaZe, played Gnar and ended up backdooring. Very similar to what we saw from Niles in game number 1 against their opponents in EGP. So both these teams are rather familiar with the situation that could potentially unfold with Mezlo now onto the inhibitor turret in the bottom lane. And DK Crew now have to make a decision. Do they fight for the soul or do they let their base crumble?
I think they're going to have to give this inhibitor turret. That's just a given, but they could get an Ocean Soul for it. Mezlo has teleport. He should just get this inhib and just he's going for the inhib. And Supernova can stop bases. The wave's quite far away in that bot lane.
That's a
Ocean
big gamble.
Soul for an inhibitor.
Supernova give up Ocean Soul for bot lane inhibitor.
So this means that Supernova have now got 5 minutes to make a play. They've got 5 minutes. DK Crew. Ooh, he's going to get out. Okay. Savage was ready. Not quite ready enough, though. So Supernova have got 5 minutes now where they have pushing pressure down in the bot lane. Teleports are 3/4 of the way back up. Savage is actually cycling his background. It was Unsealed Spellbook, giving me a bit of a bait right there. But Savage has teleport. He can sit, live in that bot lane, clear the waves of super minions coming back in, and if we can see DK Crew wait that out, not lose anything in that time, they're going to have this Ocean Soul permanently. This is a buff that does not go off, does not hinder, and it will help them again in 5 minutes time when there is going to be an Elder Drake fight. A game of a bit of a game of time now for Supernova. They put themselves on a little bit of a clock where their macro needs to be a little bit more on fire. But of course, it's worth noting that Mezlo has opted into this build path, which is decidedly focused to the split push. No real tank stats to speak of, a bit of MR that is coming from the Wit's End. But this is very much so, I am going to kill you in Mininar, and you may be a tank, but I have got the items and the capabilities to shred you.
And continue to split push here, only now joining the rest of his team to try and defend this mid lane tier 2 turret. Baron Nashor, despite all the dances that we've gone back and forth with, is still up and ready for either side to take. And now DK Crew are going to start it up. They want to force this 5v5.
They have to. Ariandel has TP. If this fight goes too long, he can TP bot lane and end the game. DK Crew forced into this, and Savage with a flank.
Savage just blocking them off. Supernova have nowhere to go. Actor pops the Lambs despite, but Pluto falls out of it just in time. It is a double kill into Evan. He's going to chase Tomato down.
Okay.
Pop the shield bow. One more auto for the trip. And DK Crew go 3 for a huge engage by Savage, and Mezlo can only watch as the Baron Nashor falls.
Somebody needs to deal with bot lane. Ariandel, you still got TP.
TPing.
You can still make a play. He's TPing back to the base. There's a match, though. Savage is going to do the same.
Savage will match, as does Hybrids. And now, maybe leaves the Baron Pit a little bit more up for the taking. Mezlo is Mininar once again. Probably won't be able to go for a steal. So, DK Crew get the soul. They get the Baron. They win another fight in the 5v5 exchange. And things are looking good for themselves again. Loser goes home. Their 2022 season is over, and Supernova might have just had that final door start to close.
Savage's flank here is so good with the Weaver's Wall. Ariandel gets onto the safe side of it, but then can't deal any damage from it. Shoris kicks out Actor from his own Lamb's Respite, and Tomato trying to cut through Hybrids just doesn't have the damage, unfortunately, at this stage. To really dish out anything, and Tomato at this stage in the game not really ready to deal with a 1v1 up against Evan, who was quite happy. 5-0-9 on the edge reel to go on up, and it was a pretty big dip. There were a lot of friends there trying to get the super bounce on the trampoline, but they've eventually managed it. And now Supernova, they're in the works of getting it sent up.
You know, sometimes like it doesn't work, and then you kind of just like stutter there and like maybe like hurt your leg a little bit. It takes a little bit of time, and eventually when the timing is right and all the stars align, Supernova, hey, that's a little star reference, they are falling here in that fight. They lost the Baron. They're now down in gold, and DK Crew now have the advantage with these Baroned up minions, but the split push still remains in favor of our Hearts of Amateur. Mezlo back to Minion R form will have a whole lot of priority in this side lane.
potential for him to go for a fight now that Hybrid has used the dash, but the super minion or the Baron duck minions are going to be a little too much. DK Crew not really impressing me with this Baron all that much. It looks like it's more of a mitigating factor as opposed to something that they're looking to accelerate the game with. Even with this Baron, I think they could use it to push it a little bit further into the enemy's jungle. I think this bot side jungle is something that they should be really battling for, scrapping to contest prior over. Because we've got an Elder Drake spawning in 1 minute 45 seconds. That is going to be the be-all and end-all buff, effectively, because bot lane inhibitor will have respawned for DK Crew. They won't have that ever-present pressure in the bot lane that they have to try and find some sort of answer to. And if they can get the Elder, they pretty much single-handedly win any fight that they try to take. So they've put their eggs all into this topside basket to try and shut down the split push from Meslo, but they may be missing the broader picture.
See if they try to collapse in onto the split pusher. In comes the call of the Forge God. Savage looking for that shove as well. But here comes the rest of Supernova. Nice flash away from Meslo. Here comes the arrow. Will not connect. And now a 5v5 has erupted. Fly getting bursted down by Actor. He's going to dash forward. Not able to get the kill. He gets kicked out and goes down. Evan Arrell's now dominating and forcing the rest of Supernova to run
Look
for
at
the
Ariandel.
hills. The Weaver's Wall is going to block them off. They have nowhere to go, but they're going to instead focus the tower. Watch bot lane though. Ariandel has the inhibitor broken open. He's looking to try and kill the base. F Savage forced to respond. They have to 1v1. Who ends up on top? The Talia has a level advantage, and Ariandel will force to stop watch out.
Soul.
Now doesn't have the chance to go for this trade, and Savage gets the kill. DK pushing in the top lane.
35 seconds. The Baron just elapsed. That Elder Drake spawning very, very soon. 2 members dead for Supernova. This is a 3v3 in the top side, though. No support, no mid laner for DK.
Meslo has to ramp up the Mega, has to be the lone carry in this fight. Gets dodged away from the knockup, and here he goes. Stunning 3 into the wall. Tomato picks up 1. Teleport in from Savage will yield the kill onto the Gnar, but now Actor has respawned. He has the flash. He can try and save his season, try and save this game. The inhibitor goes down to the top lane, and DK Crew back away.
It's so close, this game. Inhibitors traded on both sides. Right now, it's better that the top lane inhibitor is down for DK Crew than it is that Supernova have got their bot lane inhibitor. The important objective is this super powerful buff in the Elder Drake. A TP behind Clyde.
Ariandel.
It's been spotted. They know. Ariandel's looking for either a flank, looking to pick somebody off.
He's gonna get away. He channels the back. I guess he doesn't care at this point. Now Supernova starting up the Elder Dragon. It's a 4v4. Teleports available for both top laners. Another great wall coming out from Savage, and Shorter is going to push the tempo. Dragon at 3k. It's coin towards 2. The shuffle doesn't find anyone. Ariandel will go down, and Shorter Ace gets the Elder Dragon. Tomato goes down as well. And there's top dives, mid realms, and pentakills. But if you mess with the Crew, you're gonna have to run for the hills. DK Crew look poised to enter the next stage.
And what other way was this game going to end than an honourable flip around an Elder Dragon? Meslo not there, ready to take a fight, and DK Crew come out on top in the smite fight, in the fight that ensues afterwards as well. They are going to break open the inhibitor, break open the Nexus turrets, and take themselves through to the top 12.
Meslo with the Mega Gnar has no sense of damage, and the Heart of Amateur will stop beating for the remainder of 2022. DK Crew are moving on, and they have got another date with Evil Genius's Prodigies.
They are back, they are ready, and after a very chaotic 2-1 victory up against Supernova, they're going to have to try their hardest once again to try this time to best EGP, their team that they're going to be facing in the end of the group stage bracket, try and put themselves into top 8, potentially even upset some people, put themselves into a top 6 position for Proving Grounds. It's all up in the air, a lot of points to be given out, but Supernova falling here is a bit of a gut blow to them.
I feel like this team kind of, they ended their run before they really had the chance to show all of their stuff, really get all the cards to grow. Actor, Tomato, new players here to the amateur space really continue to look better and better, but unfortunately they didn't have enough time to scale, and DK Crew, with all their experience in the bag, were able to secure the win in the best of 3.
That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right at all. That's EG versus Maribel. Spoilers for the guys that joined us from Academy. That was one of the games.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That was one of the games. That was game 2. It looked like that was a completely different beast. But you know, we're quite. I think I need to take a little minute because of the sort of stakes that game had, of course, and how close it was, given the first
it was
two
close.
games as well.
Yeah.
Like, the first two games were complete and utter stomps. It was not even close to anything resembling that match itself. And we did get to see a very interesting set of games right there.
And with that victory, DK Crew get another 20 circuit points, tying themselves with Supernova and getting the edge in the tiebreak situation. Looking very good to enter Proving Grounds into that top 10. But still some work to be done. A win against EGP would all but solidify that. But that is it for us here on the caster desk for this series. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll be talking to Shorter Race about the win. Welcome back, everybody, here on the interview stage once again. And we got Shorter Race, the Jungle King for the Monkey Lords. DK Crew taking that 2-1 over Supernova to continue their run here in the Proving Grounds Circuit Qualifier. Shorter Race, got to start off with a quick question. How good did it feel to lock in that Lee Sin, that champion that you played for so many years, and just absolutely stomp all over these kids?
It felt really nice playing Lee Sin because generally, I've been like during PG, I've just been like one picking Udyr, one picking Xin, and it's just not very fun for me. So to finally pick out of the dog champion pool that I've been playing the entire tournament, it's really nice.
Is that your thoughts about the meta? You don't think that those champions that are good are very fun?
I mean, they're fun when you win, right? But when you lose, it feels really, really bad because it feels like you have less agency to do anything in the game.
Well, I now have to ask you. Like, Lee Sin, you think is not as good, but as the other champions, but you still picked it. You still won. I mean, what does that say about you, about your team, about everybody else?
So I'm really comfortable into the Lee Sin Kindred matchup. I think it's like a really Lee favorite. It's kind of like skill because Kindred outscales you. But like, I mean, there's like this meme. It's like if you pick Lee Sin, you gotta kick your coach. I think he's pretty bad, but my Lee Sin kind of goated.
Well, you kicked Actor out of the Lamb's Respite a bunch of times. That's what we saw on the screen there. Really, really good job. Congratulations again on the win. Now, just kind of going back to kind of PG as a whole, you guys have kind of been underestimated a lot. As you were alluding to before, I actually predicted against you this series, as well as, of course, all the shenanigans that happened in the open qualifiers throughout the split. But how are you guys able to continue to just be such a strong team and continue to prove all the haters wrong?
I mean, all the players are like decently skilled. Like we're not like the best top amateur like new talent. We're all like moderate, so we work well together because we have like a lot of understanding of each other. Because like we're not perfect, but we're able to make it work together. And I think that PG, considering like playing in PG compared to like collegiate, it's been a lot harder, like more of challenges because I have to play against like real junglers. It's been really fun. And I'm enjoying this experience a lot because we didn't play Spring at all. We only played the last two qualifiers, which is like, yeah, just summer.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch you guys continue to play. Of course, you had the tough group last time around, but this time in a better spot and going up again against Evil Genius's Prodigies next week. Now, no flame issued or intended right now, but you guys did lose to them 3 times in a row a couple of weeks ago. What are some of the adjustments you guys are looking to make to try and get into that upper bracket, into that top 8?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what we're gonna do because like, I think we've lost like the last like 20 scrims in a row or something. So like, we're in a really bad shape here. But you know, maybe no one beats DK Crew like 3 games in a row. Maybe 4. I think it might be close 4, but
it could be 4 and then you can reverse sweep, and then it works out, right?
Yeah. It's winnable. I think it just depends on what DK Crew we get because like, DK Crew is kind of a bunch of inches, so. It just really depends on if we play well, like game 2, you know, like we just lock in Rammus and lose casually.
Hey, it was good thought process. Maybe not the best result, but I could see the logic behind the picks being coming in. I have to ask before we wrap things up. I get to talk to a member of DK Crew, which is super cool, and now I have a question. I mean, thoughts about the rap video? Also, thoughts about like my lines that I had towards you guys? Is there anything that was like super incorrect with the assessments that we gave?
No, I think the rap is really good. I think we all enjoyed it. I mean, I don't have any style. I understand. I like that you play it on your stream all the time when we play. It's pretty cute. It's a banger rap song. I actually listened to it before the game.
Really? Was that your pump up song?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
This is maybe the proudest moment of my whole life. Shorter Race listens to the song that I wrote about him before he goes and beats people in Proving Grounds. I'm very grateful.
It helped us win our first set. Like, we've lost 3 best of 3 since we've been in PG. This is our first win. It's kind of nice. Kind of not, because, like, it was just super news, but it's chill.
Ooh, a little flame. I mean, Evan and Clyde, they played on Supernova before. Does that make them noobs as well?
They are both noobs, Evan and Clyde.
All right, got some in-team drama that Shorter Race might have to kind of sort out here as we wrap this interview up. Any final shout-outs, any last words? This floor is all yours, man.
Oh, shout out to my girlfriend Yuna. I think she's watching. Hi Yuna, I love you.
Heck yeah, how cute is that? Thank you very much, Shorter Race, for the interview. Congratulations on the win, and we are looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
All right, back we go. Rudude, what a nice wholesome interview. And I get more
That was
praise
great.
here on
That
the
was
stream.
great.
That's all we want.
That was really nice. That was like I really enjoyed listening to that one. How cool is that though? Like the dude's just there, like, yeah, we listen to your rap to get us hyped up.
I now understand what it's like to be a successful musical artist.
Yeah.
Mostly Deserex that was, doing a lot of that.
No.
I'll take the credit. I'll take some of the credit. He's
Good,
not on stream.
good.
He can't help. He can't, fight for himself right now.
Yeah, it's all you.
Yeah.
That's a
and-
who?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway,
Exactly.
let's. a lot of cool games that we happened here on the Path to LCS and both the Academy streams. And again, a lot of questions have been answered in terms of the final spots remaining in Proving Grounds. But let's take a look at the caster predictions really quick before we wrap things up, because there's a lot of interesting things that happened here. A lot of us had perfect predictions, and Rude, that didn't really stand as much as we got towards the end of the day.
Well, we actually won for one, which was
We did.
which was one of the outcomes that we forgot could happen. We didn't mention that at the start. We were like, oh yeah, you're either going to be slamming me, or we're going to be deady, or I'm going to be ahead of you by one. We didn't factor in that we
No.
could just have a middle ground.
So are we?
But
Does that mean we're okay?
I'm still one behind you.
Okay. Well, I guess that just means that I'm still better. Is that?
Yeah, true.
That's the lesson. That we
Stats
want
don't
all of
lie.
you Yeah, exactly. That's been the story here on the stream. It's just been a lot of results-based analysis. a
Stats
lot
don't
of
lie, or you're better
really
than me.
great
What,
stats.
what's the story?
Oh, man.
Neither, both, and or.
It's all of them. Just
All of the
yes.
above?
Yes is the answer to that
Mhm.
last question that we'll have here on the stream. Ridu, thank you so much for hanging out with me, man. It was such a fun time covering these games. We got a lot of interesting matchups, a lot of expectations set for the weeks to come.
Yeah, we did. That was great. Well, you know what? Monday can't come fast enough. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, we're getting ready for that, but before we do, we got to wrap things up. Thank you again to our sponsors here at Unified for keeping us all afloat. Atlantic, HyperX, and BenQ Zowie. Thank you so much for all of their support and their ability to have these streams run and have us get to cover such amazing League of Legends. We'll be back on Monday for the last day of the group stage. Elimination matches all the way through. Have a good night, everybody.